Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there, just to let me know that it is indeed working. Awesome. Yeah, sorry, I apologize about yesterday. I guess I didn't realize that I didn't have my audio on, but it looks like we're up and running now. I'm excited. We've had a good trading day so far. We made a couple, at least a good trade last night. Had one loser. Fortunately, that winner was like 3 times the size of our loser. So we'll talk about that. I've got a really good bankers close trade to get into. But before we get into it, let me go through our disclaimer. So as always, let's see, here it is. As always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, as well as how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So please be aware of that before you get into any trade. So awesome. All right, guys, let's jump into this real quick. So real quickly, let's take a look at the news before we jump into those trades. Um, so not a lot of news today, not an FOMP, not an NFP Friday. We did, let's see, last night, I don't think we had anything significant last night. Let me check real quick before we jump into these. Yeah, nothing crazy. So we kind of have the green light. I expect it to be a slower day because of that, but nonetheless, we should have some good trades. So guys, I jumped into a position on the euro pound just barely. I'm up a couple of pips on that trade, but it's a fantastic trade to take. In fact, I'm going a little heavy on this one. I'll tell you why. But yeah, in fact, I just added a couple more trades. So feel free to hop into that one right now. So this is actually interesting because this trade is running into one of our swing trades. So like the um this buy opportunity on a short-term time frame also agrees with the buy that we had set up on a longer term time frame. So let me explain. So you have this euro pound here on a 5 minute, obviously hitting that lower Bollinger Band down here. That's a buy on a banker's close. Obviously, London closes in about an hour. So, the fact that we're at a low on a Friday with no news, um, right, hitting the lower Bollinger Band makes sense to buy. And obviously, it's starting to work already. So we're going to let that guy sit, let it do its thing. But there's more to the story. If you go out to a higher time frame and kind of get that broader scope on the market, look what we have here. So you come over here, and we're not quite to that point yet. Like it could definitely drop a little bit more. But so here, if you go back to like the end of October, the market formed this little cup and handle pattern right in here, this little bowl. And there's a lot to break down over here. So let's kind of look at it. So you have this point of structure, which is basically where the market's at right now. You have you're sitting at an old resistance, and then a subsequent breakout of that point of structure. And what caused that breakout? And in fact, it actually might be better to look at it. I like Trading View better, even though we're trading on that one. Definitely like the chart tools I have over here. So yeah, head over to an hourly on the euro pound. Okay, so okay, so here's what we're looking at. So this is end of October on an hourly chart. Here's the point of structure, basically where the market's at right now. Okay, and then what caused the breakout? Well, it's two things, right? You have this guy. This is what caused the breakout. And then you also have this guy down here. So the market could come down here, honestly. I wouldn't say it would, but it could. But these are the two places where the banks felt comfortable creating this breakout, because obviously retail traders don't create that bar. That was a bank, right? Same thing with this bar right here. These are banks. So whatever the banks were doing here and here is what caused this subsequent move. So we have a lot of friends nearby, right? Like if this market wants to come down a little further, we're going to get bank help. And so that's why I feel comfortable taking a little bit of a bigger trade this morning on this, because look what's right there, right? So you're going to have, if this market wants to come down, it's going to come right into this right here and then start to come up. You know, it could come into here and then go up. I doubt it would do that in this webinar. I mean, obviously that is 56 pips away. I wouldn't put it past the market, but it is, I mean, it's possible. In all likelihood, because there's no news to create such a large move at this hour, this area is probably going to hold right here. Whatever the banks did right here is going to hold. So this is absolutely, especially if this market, if it came into that purple area, I mean, you got to buy, you just got to buy, right? We're already starting that buy because we're at the end of the day, no news, lower Bollinger Band, Euro Pound at that, which is a great pair to trade for the banker's close. All of those reasons combined get me really, really, really excited about this trade. Like we have an absolute green light on this signal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to bring, just for precaution and because it's part of the strategy, I am going to put these stop losses below kind of what the banks created right here back at the end of, or actually beginning of November. So these stops are just going to go right here. So the current stop losses are going to have like, I think that's like 40 pips or something like that. But yeah, we have a really awesome green light this morning. Now, just a little disclaimer on that though. Although I'm really confident about this trade, like just keep in mind, I am going to build into this position if it comes into here, because again, the banks are going to help us out if it comes into this area because they have a strategic structure built into this, right? So just be aware of that. Like, I'm not saying it's going to stop where it is now and then immediately go up. All I'm saying is it has a really high chance of going up after it kind of engages with whatever this is right here, and then it's going to go up from there. But nonetheless, so far so good. I'm up 31 pips, 0.7% so far. We'll let it do its thing. So yeah, that's going to be a really awesome banker's close trade. It's going to be really awesome. So, okay, so we have this, we can let this go. Although I do want to just set up just those, I want to put some buy limits in just in case the market does drop. I doubt it will at this hour, but if it does, I do want to buy into this, right? We don't want to miss out if the market makes a run to the downside because all of that's going to go back up, or at least should, right? So that's what I'm looking for right there on that trade. Where are we going to close this guy? Like, where are we going to take our profits today? Honestly, because we're at such a strategic level, I'm going to be a little more aggressive on my targets. I'm thinking, obviously, this is the mid Bollinger Band. I think that's going to cut. I think if you close there, you're cutting yourself short of profits. I think there's a lot more profits to make on this trade. So I'm thinking we're probably going to close maybe a minimum target, kind of this old supply and demand level, or even up in here and here. So kind of through this area is where I'm going to close most of the trades. However, I think I still will, we will still let some trades ride, right? Let them do their thing. And yeah, just kind of scatter those targets in that area is good. And then again, like we'll leave some of these to ride a little bit. Okay, that's probably fine because a lot of those are just pending orders. Awesome. All right, okay, we'll let that one do its thing. It can just sit on autopilot, but that's going to be a great little scalp trade this morning. But just, and again, as a reminder for those that are just hopping in the webinar, we are going to have, just be aware it is possible for this thing to come down a little bit more before, before you get that nice, it's going to be a really nice run to the upside when it's ready to go. Right? It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Right? So just be aware of that. Okay. All right, so that's a good trade. We're gonna let that do its thing. Let's recap some of our trades from last night. So I had, here's my other account. Um, I had, um, let's see, look at my account history. I lost one trade and I won one. The trade I lost was the NZD CAD sell. I lost $364 on that trade. But I did have one winner on the euro dollar, and that one made 930 bucks. So that's good. We'll recap both of those. I do have a trade that's on right now. It's this NZD CAD short, and that one was placed on an hourly time frame. So that is going to be more of a swing to multi-day trade. It's up $190 right now. So we'll see where that goes, but I'll explain that one. Maybe I'll explain that one first, and then we can kind of go from there. Let me actually open up profiles. Let's go to bankers candle. Here we go. Okay, and then let me get a watch list pulled up. Okay, so this trade was up actually a lot more early this morning. Like it was positive 34 pips at one point, which would have been like, let's see, 34 pips times $25 a pip. Yeah, it was up 850 bucks at one point. Now it's only up, 150, $200. That's fine because it's a swing trade. So basically this was taken on an hourly time frame. And actually, again, it's not as nice looking on here. It probably looks much better if you go to trading view. So this is the NZD CAD. Okay. Good old NC. So, okay, so come on over here. Obviously, it's at this big high. Now, last night, the market was sitting right here. Right before I went to bed, this is where the market was. Just sitting at this high, and I did not sell there. I'm sure a bazillion retail traders sold right there. We did not, right? Why did we not sell right there? Because go to the left side of the chart, right? When was the last time it was up here? Long time ago, right? Obviously, well, actually, let me draw a line where the retail traders were selling last night before they went to bed, just to find out they were losing this morning, right? Like this is where they were selling. This is where the market was last night. And honestly, several years ago, I would have sold there too, just because I'm a retail trader, right? So with that in mind, let's go back to the left side of the chart. Go to the last time. This is on an hourly time frame, just so everyone knows. I may have looked at this and been like, yeah, hey, it's starting to hit up against resistance. I probably would have sold, and it's just baloney, right? So coming over here, still same thing, not really at resistance yet, or I guess it kind of is, but maybe I wouldn't have sold there. But this is where I want to direct your attention to. So the last time the market was here was in May, and this is interesting to me because look what happened. This was a point of structure basically right here, kind of where the market's sitting right now, or a little bit higher from where the market's sitting. It's pulled back some, which is awesome. This was the structure, right? This was the support level that was formed. The market was respecting this support level to some extent, and then it got clobbered, right? Like obviously the market just came down, busted through that support. What you want to do is you want to go back and find out what caused the market to have such a breakout. Like what is the thing, what's the mechanism that created that breakout? This is it right here. So this consolidation, whatever this is, whatever the market was doing here, you can see it's slower moving. It's not breaking lows like it was before until here. The market just gave way and never came back. Like it just gave way. It came up, retested one time, and then it never came back for the next 6-7 months. Like it was goodbye forever, right? And now we're back, right? It's November and we're retesting this again. So I wasn't selling down here like most retail traders were this morning. I was waiting for this guy, right? Like I was waiting for whatever, whatever the banks were doing in here is what caused the breakout. Honestly, I probably should have waited a little bit higher, perhaps to there, because that's where the true consolidation was. It was kind of like right there. But nonetheless, that's what I was waiting for. So since I did my homework, I have a much better trade. I'm actually up on this trade, and it looks like I'm going to make some money on this. Like, because I was willing to go back 6, 7 months to find out what's this real story, like what's going on. And here we are. See, it just barely came up into this area and then pulled back down. And so, um, and as you guys know, I'm not up a lot, nothing too excited to get about, right? But I'm excited because it's the principle, it's the start of something exciting, a really fantastic trade, something that you can go and tell your friends I sold right there, right? All right. That's going to be really exciting. And they're gonna be like, how did you do that? You were lucky. Well, you got the secret sauce, right? Like you actually do your homework, you go back and check, what caused these breakouts in the past. Whereas most of your buddies are going to say they sold right there and they're stopped out, right? Just in time for a really great trade. So anyway, that's a trade that's a recent development that I just got into. And again, this is on the NZD CAD short. It's on an hourly time frame. My target on this, just so everyone knows, is pretty far away. Like, I'm going for a lot on this guy. Yeah, it's 262 pips away. So it's going to be a multi-$1,000 position. Like, it will make thousands of dollars when it's all done. But we are just at the beginning, which is really, really exciting. Okay, so let's talk about, okay, so now we talked about this winner. Let's talk about our loser, is our only loser from last night. It was actually also on the new NZD CAD. But this trade, this was different. This is not, so what we were doing, this is the, you and I are talking about market structure, market breaks, things like that. I believe this was just a banker's candle trade. So, which, by the way, we don't have as high of a success rate with banker candle trades, but they still work, right? So this right here, it was just a quick little scalp. I was thinking this was going to be a nice banker's candle. Hey, if the market comes to there, um, I'll risk only 18 pips on that trade. It can be a really small trade. Sure, yeah, I got stopped out for 18 pips, small loss, right? But I just think when you're risking 18 pips with the potential to make 100, 200 pips, I think it's worth taking that trade. So that was just a quick little scalp that, didn't work. Just because I had a banker's candle. I would have done the same thing, if the market came to here. That's a banker's candle right there. I would have been fine buying that one too. We're just not there. This is actually a new banker's candle. That just happened, right? That is a banker's candle. And so generally speaking, you'd want to sell when you come into that. And we're already in a sell right now. So we're in a really good spot. Like, we're already positive, little drawdown. We've already created a high that looks like might hold. And we sold in such a great area. Like, I'm feeling really good on this trade. Okay, now let's talk about our other winner. So this one's already closed, made $930 on an overnight scalp on the euro dollar. This one was really, really awesome. So let's talk about this one. This one was on a 5-minute. Okay, so it was a 5-minute scalp. So basically, yeah, it just looks so much better if you go to Trading View. By the way, I want to check, how's this doing? Okay, yeah, we're up 37 pips on the banker's close trade, 45. We'll let that sit. Okay, so let's go take a look at the euro dollar now. Okay, I gotta delete this. This is from the higher time frame. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. Look at this. So yesterday, okay, let's orient ourselves. I like to throw up this session indicator if I don't know where I'm at. So this is the London session today, this green, and this is the London session yesterday. So I like to trade in the London session mostly. And the London session, New York overlap, that's kind of my bread and butter area. And so this is today, and we're going to close in 40 minutes, the London session. And then this was the London session yesterday. So during the London session on the euro dollar, this little trough was created, whatever this thing is, right? And it made a point of structure on a 5-minute chart, right? So it made this guy right there, pretty obvious point of structure. If you zoom into it, you can see, you know, that point of structure, like, hey, the market came up, touched there. It actually used to be an old support, new resistance, right? Support becomes resistance type of thing. Came up here, made a point of structure, came up here, almost touched it, got rejected, came up again, rejected, came up again, and then finally busted through. So a very well respected structure. Okay. When we say structure, we're talking about like anything that is support, anything that is resistance, that, and then when we talk about break of structure, we're talking about break of support, break of resistance. So this is a break of old resistance now becoming support. But where do most people buy on this type of thing? How are you taught to buy? Oh, just buy when it comes back and touches support, right? That's what everyone's going to tell you to do. Okay, when this comes back, just buy right there, right? We don't do that. What we do is we say, what caused the break of support? What caused the break of structure? This. This is what caused whatever they did here, whatever they did in this little thing, whatever you want to call it. You know, this little thing right here is what caused it. You could also argue that, you know, they did a little thing right here. You could have a buy in there too. That's supply and demand zone, but this is what caused it. So if you now move forward, you know, bring this box forward. So if the market ever dips into this, look at this. That was the trade right there. Bought into their supply zone. That broke support. Remember, this was the support that we drew out. Okay, touched, like 5 times, 6 times it touched, and it broke through it. You know, what does the average retail trader do? Oh, they put their buy right there and they get stopped out all the time. So, or their stop loss right there, thinking like, oh, it's not going to break that, right? Now we still bought there, but our stop loss is pretty darn good. Like it's just right behind whatever they created, right? We know that this is what they used to cause that move to go higher. So that's why our stop just went behind that. Boom, just went for a little scalp. I don't know how many pips we made. So yeah, if I made $930 at $25 a pips, 930 divided by 25. So I made 37.2 pips on this trade. So if I got in right here, that means if we draw a long position, 37.2 puts me at right there. Just perfect, right? Just perfect. That's a 900, almost $1,000 trade, just right there, you know? And that just happened while I was sleeping last night. I know for some of you, like Kevin, you know, you're in Africa, so you know, I'm sure this is just as you were waking up. For me, this is while I was going to bed. And this just triggered while I was asleep, right? And then we're out. Obviously, you would have stopped out by now, like if you were still in the trade, but you know, that's all you need to do. And this was a 2-to-1, just over 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio, which is perfect. Obviously, we'd like the 3-to-1s. It'd be awesome if we could win, you know, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, which is totally possible. But when I'm scalping on a 5-minute, I feel like it's harder to get those, you know, 3-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1s. It is, you can do it. I just like to, I kind of settle for a 2-to-1 type of thing. And this was over 2-to-1, which was just, I mean, just barely. It's awesome. And that's the only winner that's actually closed. So we've had one loser and one winner, and then we just have we actually have a lot of trades just sitting right now. A lot of trades doing nothing. I mean, this trade's up now $250, just letting that thing do its thing. We do have a lot of trades ready to go. Like right here, you can see the euro pound is pretty close to triggering on the hourly. Looks like it's pulled back some for our bankers close trade. Yeah, it's pulled back some. That's fine. But this trade is really close to entering on an hourly time frame. You can see it got really close right there. It didn't quite get us in, but it was close, that's for sure. So yeah, if you go look at euro pound now. Okay, I'm going to remove the sessions. There we go. Go to an hourly. Oh, here we go. I was like, where did it go? This is what we're looking for. Right, so this is the old structure, basically where the market's at right now. We're waiting for it to come down and tap into whatever the banks did right here to cause that huge candle, which was a break of structure. Again, you don't want to go to where the structure broke. You want to go to where whatever they used to create this. And this is what they did to create that. They also came down here too. So I have 2 trades on. You can see on my screen here. If you go to an hourly chart, you can see I've got 2 trades on. One that's going to stop out. If I can zoom in just right to it. Here we go. One that'll stop out just below this, and then one that will enter right here and stop out down here. Either way, we're going to make money on this trade, whether, if the first trade loses, the next trade should be a baller, an absolute baller. If the first trade wins, then great. We'll probably just go with that. But I haven't triggered into either one yet on the hourly. So we're just in a waiting game right now as of the moment, which is fine. It may hurt our short-term trade just a little, but I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, this is kind of my anticipation is something like this on our bankers close trade, comes down, and then comes right back up. We should get a lot of bank help on this trade. We really should. Okay. All right. So that's a trade I'm really excited about. Another trade I have set up is this guy right here. Okay, why did that not trigger? Because I had a trade right there. Okay. Because yeah, we did that perfectly. Oh, I guess I have it. Oh, okay, I see what I did. No, it didn't trigger. You can see right here. So I have a trade to sell on the pound yen, just above that high. The reason why, and you'll see it much better on TradingView. Okay, to come over here on an hourly. Again, these are all out. I trade hourly when I'm doing these swing trades. I have most of my big trades. So we had 2 big trades this week. We had the dollar franc long and we had the pound franc long, right? Both of those trades, one made $4,500 and the other one made $4,400. Absolute monster trades. And they were both placed on the hourly time frame. So if you want like really big wins like that with small risk, I feel like you have to go on the hourly time frame. You can do this and just take a bigger lot size on a small time frame, but I just feel like the banks respect the levels way more on the higher time frames than they do on the lower. And there will be opportunities all week long on the hourly. I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to wait for an hourly setup. That's going to do it happens every day. Every day there's an hourly setup. Every stinking day, multiple times a day. Obviously, out of all these trades, only 3 triggered last night. Most of these are hourly setups. You can see all these pending orders. Most of these, and I expect that. Like every night I'm trading, I'm not expecting these to just trigger, right? I'm, maybe 2, 3, 4 trades might enter overnight. That's kind of my expectation. All right. So swing back over here with me. Here's the pound yen. This trade I'm really stoked about. I'm kind of mad that I didn't have an order right there, but here's what I did instead. Last night I placed, this is my sell box, right? Anything in purple is a sell. Here's why. Go back in time. This is back earlier November. And you see this huge candle break of structure, right? So this was like a really nice kind of like support area. Even this whole thing was a support. And this thing just busted through, just came right through. and then it came up and retested that old support, and then it was like, nope, nope, see ya, I got to go down, right? So whenever you see that kind of thing, you want to find out what caused the break of structure. Not don't pay attention to the break, pay attention to what created it, right? So this is what created this guy, which followed this. This huge move down is what happened here. Technically, you could say this too, but this was the last consolidation before this decisive candlestick, right? So I look at those decisive candlesticks and I'm like, I wonder what happened there, right? So this is why this is my sell zone, because if the market comes back up into here, there's going to be a lot of people a lot of banks willing to sell with me. I can keep a stop loss right there and I'll be fine. So now if I swing over here, you can see I got really close to it. In fact, it got really, really close. It's just 30 pips off on the GJ pound yen, right? And so I don't know if I'll get executed. Again, I'm somewhat angry with myself for not executing right there on that tip, but it's okay. So that's another trade that I'm trying to farm out right now. Last night it was sitting right here, or like right here, and I was really thinking about selling, and honestly I probably would have been fine, because I was thinking, this is a banker's candle, this guy. So for a banker's candle trade, that would have been a sell, which you'd be like break even basically right now on that trade. So I didn't take that one last night, because I have a lot more success with these types of trades where you find breaks of structure and then you go back in time to find what caused it, and then you place your trade in that zone, right? So, I have a sell pending ready to go up here. And yeah, if that guy goes, it's a monster trade, like 200, 300 pips. It's gonna be thousands of dollars of profit if that one works out. Nonetheless, it hasn't really triggered yet, but that's a trade I'm really excited about. Speaking of awesome trades, we just passed 300 bucks positive on our NZD CAD. So that one's starting to roll in our favor. Just while we've been sitting here this hour, it's up, $100, $150 more than where it was before, which is great. Let's go look at, okay. What's another one that I'm like okay, I'm surprised these Euro Aussies didn't trigger. I have some trades in the Euro Aussie. These are banker's candle trades, okay? So a little different from break of structure, that kind of stuff. So basically with the Euro Aussie, you can see up here, we have a really big level of this high, and the market never came back up to mitigate that high. Like there's never been a chance for the banks to offload some positions up here. So it's a supply demand zone for sure. And that's why I placed a banker's candle trade. So I basically just have a sell, at the bottom of the last candle before it made its last move higher, stop loss right there. Huge, this trade, lower probability. I mean, it's high probability still, but like lower. But look at the profit. So my target is all the way down here. So it's a 300 pip target, and it's 34 pip stop loss, right? So yes, I'll probably lose more of those types of trades, but for me, I'm like, okay, if I win 4 out of 10, but I'm winning 10 times more than I lose on the 4, I'd take that trade every single day, right? Same thing with this guy. So this is a banker's candle right here, last candle down before it made a tear to the upside. So I have a buy just above the candle and a stop loss just below that one. So I've kind of just trapped the market and also with this one, the reason why I like this one is because the market hasn't come back down to mitigate this move. So basically what I'm trying to say is if the market comes to either here or here, I think there's a really good chance the banks will send it the other way. And when I say it hasn't been able to mitigate, go back and look at that example with the pound yen. So see how the market back here broke? The market mitigated with that banker's candle. Okay. Because if you, let's say you're a bank and you have some buy positions and you're starting to catch on to the fact that this thing's coming down, this banker's candle is your last opportunity to offload positions before the market goes tumbling down. So that's why it's also known as an FU candle. Like it's the last candle before the market just falls apart. But yeah, it's the last candle for the banks to have a chance to offload positions. When I say their positions, they're offloading their buys and handing them to the retail traders because they're like, oh, this is my last chance before this happens, right? That's what that phenomenon is right there. So with that in mind, that has not happened yet with the Euro Aussie, both in either direction. Look at this. It made this high, and the banks, if they still had buys, they're caught. They're stuck. That's why this is the supply demand zone. Look down here. When this low was created, it actually broke the previous low. So that tells me that the banks, sold here. But if they're still in those sell positions, which I'm sure they have some, they haven't been able to mitigate, which is why I feel comfortable with the banker's candle trade in either one of these because they haven't had the chance to mitigate yet. Let me show you let me see if I can find a prime example of a mitigation. Oh, here we go. And look, like nice, our trade's back. Our banker's candle trade, our banker's close trade. We'll see if it makes this high here. We're at 37 pips on that. Okay. Let's see if we can find an example of really, oh, I know exactly where to go. So I've been using the COT report to scalp this guy this week. This is the Aussie Kiwi. Come over here and look at, oh, that thing is breaking lower. I wonder if we can go back and find a support level. Here is what I'm talking about. So this thing has been running lower, making lower highs, right? Not really lower lows. I guess it is making lower lows, but definitely lower highs. Here's a banker's candle right here. Last candle before and move lower. Look what happens. Sell zone, right? Market comes into here, sells off, right? Here's another banker's candle. Here's the last large candle up before the market comes down. Obviously, those are great areas to sell because the market's mitigating. And this is giving buyers, the banks who have buy positions, whenever you see this, what they're doing is they're not breaking the old high because they're just offloading their buy positions, right? They see this last candle here and they're just offloading their positions, right? And then this happens, right? Speaking of this trade, I have been interested in a buy, assuming because it is breaking, it just broke this low. I would love to find out when was the last time it was here, right? Because that can help us figure out when this thing's going to stop. So let's go back over here. Okay, this was it. Last time it was over here. But I'm not really excited about this because it's just sitting at a support level. I don't want to buy at that. Here's where I'd be interested in buying. You come back over here. This was a break of structure. Okay, so whatever, let's do a horizontal ray instead. Here we go. This was the structure right here, basically where the market's sitting. Whatever the market did, and you could say, I'm sure you could argue this area, it just doesn't offer me the reward to risk ratio that I want. Okay. For me, I'd be willing to buy this Euro, or excuse me, this Aussie Kiwi. So if it came back into this guy, this to me says, hey, whatever the banks did here caused the break of the market, caused the break of structure. So I would be willing to buy in that thing right there on an hourly time frame. This right here. So now you drag this thing out, and this was all the way back in April, right? But this is where I'd be willing to buy next. It's pretty, to me, it's pretty obvious. Hey, it formed this trough here. It did a little thing here where the bank said, yep, see ya. And the market really respected this area. Yeah, to me, that's a solid level. So now we bring this over, and now we're going to beat all the scalpers that don't know what they're doing, right? Because we now know that the banks were buying this area. So it is on a free fall right now, right? Where would you feel comfortable buying this guy? Right there. That's where I'd feel comfortable. Right there. So we'll probably place a trade on that. You could look at after that, if that guy stops out, let him stop out. Where's the next area? Probably this thing right here. That'd be the next area you'd be willing to buy at. And then I mean, if it kept on going, this would be the next area. So those are buy zones. Anything outside of that is not a buy zone. Like I would not want to buy in here, and I would not want to buy in here. But anything in purple, I'd be willing to buy. And then obviously stop out on the other side of the purple. So, you know, we could definitely take all three of these if we wanted to. I don't think all three would trigger, but see, with this kind of perspective, you're like, these are definitely areas, but like if you're a buyer at the end of Friday, this is how you can ruin, you know how you want to ruin your Friday? Here's how you ruin your Friday. I've done this so many times. You come in here because you're a scalper and you're like, oh man, this thing is dropping. It's the end of the day. It's Friday. Great. I'm going to buy this. I'm just going to buy it. Dude, it's going to keep going down the rest of Friday. I'm just letting you know right now. It's just going to keep going and it's not going to stop. It's going to go 34 pips against you and then it's going to stop there. Like it's going to be the hour before the market closes. And then it's just going to be like, zzz, 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 zzz. It's just going to stay there. And you're going to be floating. You have to make a decision. You'll have to float a drawdown, which may not come back, or you'll have to close your trade and go into Friday knowing you took a loss. So that's how you ruin your Friday, right? So we're not buying this, but if we were to buy this, that's what I would do is I would come in here and say, yep, let's like I'm willing to do it. I probably will add this to the little portfolio of trades that we have here. I will probably add it to what we have. But I am not touching this unless it comes into my zone. I'm not touching it, right? Like that. It's it's sitting at a support level, but we don't buy at support, guys. We buy when the market reaches bank institutional order blocks, right? Okay, why am I not? Oh, I know why. You got to go to a 5 minute or an hourly here. These are order blocks, right? That's an order block. That is absolutely an order block. 100% that's an order block right there. Same thing with this thing. I don't like this one as much because I just don't like how it doesn't give me the reward to risk ratio that I would want. But this guy does. Look how tight that stop loss is, and high probability tight stop loss, with the possibility of 5, 6 to 1 on that type of thing. This type of thing gives you a 1 to 1, maybe a 2 to 1 when it's this fat. So I don't like them when they're fat. Okay. We don't want them lean and skinny, right? Like that one looks great. I really like this one. Yeah. So we'll buy in there if the market comes back into that. And no one's gonna see it. Like if you're a scalper, no one's gonna see it. You're gonna be like, how did you know like the market was gonna stop right there? Yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Anyway, so we'll probably add that to our portfolio of trades. Oh, hey, look, plus 71. We just closed our banker's close trade. Like we have 79.9 pips of profit, 61, 62 unrealized. Look, that just happened. We just made profit on those. I'm going to close a couple more. So at this point, here's what we'll do. We'll talk about this trade for a second. Banker's close trade. I don't need the pending orders anymore because obviously the market decided to go up and we already made our money for the day. So I'm going to go ahead and close those, leave these trades. I'm going to leave just 3 trades on to ride. and we're just playing with house money, right? I'm going to put another trade. Actually, I'm going to put this one at the previous, banker's candle, like right there. And then I'm going to put one like right there. Yeah, that looks good. So, and then I'm just going to bring these stop losses to break even because we're up 102 pips, 102.6 pips realized profit. And we have 22.922 pips of unrealized house money that, if it wants to come back to break even, that's fine. Or if it wants to go up a little more, that's even better. But at this point, you can't lose because stop loss is at break even and we got 102.6 pips of profit. That was fun. So that was just, I love that. I love how you can just do it in the same trading session. We're just in Friday and we're done. Like we just made our money like in the hour. Isn't that awesome? And all the while we were working on our skills. We were working on taking better, swing trades, over here. So, all right, guys. So I'll probably wrap up in a little bit. I think I will probably set up this trade before the weekend. I do like this one. I know it's been on a tear to the downside. The banks are selling this. It is a contrary, like the COT report indicates it is selling. But for me, I'm not look, I'm just saying like I'm willing to buy when it hits an institutional level. Obviously, I was never a buyer on the Aussie Kiwi all week. In fact, we had a lot of sells. In fact, I had a banker's close sell and never hit. I had a banker's candle sell right here. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had one of our trades. That was a sell right there. It just never got to our zone. That was a sell. It just never got there. It's just, that's how bearish this market was. So where would we be willing to buy next? Right there. And the scalpers will never see it coming. And that's what I'm saying. If you want to ruin your Friday, scalp this and buy the Aussie Kiwi because it's low. I guarantee you there's millions of traders out there right now that are new to the market. They're seeing this Aussie Kiwi down here. They're like, oh my gosh, it's down here at a support level. It's just so low right now. I'm going to buy this. That's a big mistake, man. Big mistake. Like it's not going to stop until it gets to here. So we're going to get a pristine entry on this. And even if we lose on this guy, like we could lose too, but we'll just take a single order, risk 34 pips, probably go for something like 100 pips or so. So we'll get a 3-to-1 at least on this trade. And we'll buy right there. If it loses, we'll take it, fine, whatever it happens. And then where's our next? Right there. We'll start there. At one point, we're going to get a big win on this, But this isn't our only trade either, right? Like we have, as you guys know, we have tons of other trades that we're going to take in the meantime. So all right, guys. So I think that's about it for the day. Like in recap, obviously 2 overnight trades. We had one loser, one winner that closed. We made $930 on that scalp on the euro dollar. Lost 364 on the Kiwi CAD. And then, but also we've pretty much recovered that. Like we're up $371 now on that trade with the Kiwi CAD short. In fact, let's just take a look at that real quick. We'll wrap up on that. So how's that doing? Awesome, right? Sold right there on that wick. Right on that wick. Like, guys, that happened 3 or 4 hours ago. How would you have known to sell right there? The huge move to the upside. How would you have known to do that? When you tell your friends later, how did you know to sell there? Just be like, well, I did my homework. I did my homework. I went back. I found out where the banks were selling originally. I found out where the previous break of structure was. You can literally just go, tell them exactly what happened. Oh, it's this, like, back in, you can say, oh yeah, back in May, this happened. You had a break of structure right here, break of structure. And I went and found out what caused that break of structure. Oh, this is what caused it. This consolidation right here is what caused this move that never came back. Oh, so that's probably a supply demand zone. Yeah, It is. And that's why we sold there. And that's why we're making money on this trade. So anyway, guys, really awesome week. Like we had some really cool trades. Like I said, we had that pound franc long, dollar franc long. Those were legendary trades. Like that's what's crazy, guys. That trade between the dollar franc long and the pound franc long, we had some other winners too that were awesome. But like just two trades made enough money to buy a decent car. $4,400 on the USD franc long, and then $4,500 on the pound franc long. Like that's enough to buy a car, right? So pretty cool stuff. Anyway, guys, really awesome week. Appreciate your guys' attendance today. I'll get the recording up. I'll let you know if I have other trades I want to take before the weekend in the Telegram. So just be aware of that. But thanks for coming, guys, and we'll see you on Monday.